everybody, and welcome to another fantastic episode of The Bookworm Mom. Today, I'm excited to tell you that we have an author in the location we call the Forum here today, and she's going to be interviewing with us to talk about a book she's already written, and I believe she has some new books coming out. So let's welcome Lisa Hartman. Welcome, Lisa.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Lisa, I know that Tripp ran into you at, I believe was it a gun show?
It was. I ran over her, actually. She and her husband had the best-looking booth that was in the corner back right as you entered in. And they got us out of the refrigerator from the hallway and brought us back in just opposite from there. And as soon as I saw she had the books, and I knew the following week we were going to have our premiere episode.
Correct.
I was like, this can't be.
Right.
This was just kismet.
Yeah, kismet meant to be.
Absolutely.
And so aside from the fact that Tripp scared you to death, you still signed the book.
I absolutely did.
I appreciate that. It was great. Nice little personal signature in there for myself. And Tripp, thank you again for purchasing the book. So now I've read High Heels and Handguns. Is this your first book, or have you written some other things?
That is the first published.
Okay.
I do have another book that will probably never see the light of day. We'll find out.
All right. This one is by Lisa, and it's about a young woman named Kate Howard. Mm-hmm. And this is book one. She is a veteran in the book, and then she's essentially a bodyguard for, I think, a state senator. And very interesting. And I tell you, folks, sometimes you pick up a book and you start reading, and it takes you to chapter 2 or 3 before you start really getting into the book. It's page 2, and you're like, what? Wow. And it takes off. So there's no waiting to get into the exciting parts of this book. It takes off right from the beginning. It is. It's really good. It's interesting. And, of course, I'm a female veteran, so out of curiosity, I know that your character is a female veteran. Are you yourself a veteran?
I am not, but thank you for your service.
Well, you're welcome. You're welcome. I'm married to a retired Army officer, combat veteran as well. So patriotism is a big deal in my family. My dad's a veteran. My brother's a veteran. So anyway, it's very exciting. And in fact, what I thought is that as I was reading the book, it kind of, not that they're really parallel to one another, but, you know, Kate Howard kind of put me in mind of the Alex Cross. And I thought, is this going to be like the female version of Alex Cross? She's going to be out there doing, crime, because I don't want to give a lot away because you need to pick this book up and read it. But she has a love interest in the book, and he is an FBI agent, and they both had served together in Afghanistan. But at that time, he was her commanding officer, and she was enlisted, and so, all the taboos go, you can't date an officer and all of that. So that kind of plays out a little bit in the beginning of the book, but it's really, really a great book. And so this is book one, so can we anticipate a book 2 coming?
Book 2 is coming, Daisy Dukes and Daggers.
All right.
I don't have a date yet, but fingers crossed it will be hopefully summer or fall this year.
Fantastic. So we'll get to see a little bit more of what Kate Howard has going on. If you have a chance, folks, look this book up. It's great. I love the cover. I don't know who came up with the cover. It's really cool. It's just, you got the femme fatale there with the handgun stuck in her garter. Last time he and I joked about the fact that I do carry, but I don't carry my garter anymore.
That just doesn't make sense.
Just doesn't make sense. No. So I'm just curious. So what inspired you to become a writer? Because a lot of times this starts out very early.
I am dyslexic, so I had a very hard time reading and writing growing up. I did a lot of work with tutors throughout school, and I used to write up little nonsensical things. When I was a kid, my mom used to tell me I wrote up these little stories. I really didn't enjoy reading my mom used to read to us as kids, but I didn't really enjoy reading in school because of the stuff that they picked, and it wasn't really my thing.
Right.
And it wasn't until I started reading on my own, probably after college, things that I didn't, weren't required reading, that I kind of fell in love with it.
Fantastic. Yeah. So speaking of college, where did you go to college?
Virginia Wesleyan.
All right, Virginia Wesleyan. So are you from Virginia originally?
Originally from New Jersey.
New Jersey. What exit?
I couldn't even tell you anymore. I've spent more time out of New Jersey than I have in it.
So when did you move into the Murrells Inlet area here in South Carolina?
We've had the house almost 2 years, and we've been here.
Fantastic. So you like it?
I do. It's completely different. We spent the last 20 years in Arizona, almost 21. So moving from Arizona to Myrtle Beach is a very big change. Things are a lot slower paced, and everything is just a little bit more relaxed, kind of that beach vibe feeling, which is kind of nice.
Well, yeah, having been stationed all over the place with my husband while he was in the Army, we spent some time in Texas, and I coached out there at a college softball, and so we did a lot of traveling up to Arizona to play, so I completely understand what you're saying. Plus the weather's different.
Yes, very different.
Very different from here to there. People always say, it's a dry heat. As if that makes it better.
It is a dry heat, but it is still hot.
It is.
I mean, 118 degrees is hot. I don't care if there's damp in the air at all. It's hot.
I used to tell folks, okay, you're going to tell me that 90 degrees in the south is hotter than 114. Here's what I'm going to say. Go to your oven. Turn it on, set it to 114, stick your head in there, let me know how comfortable that is.
Yeah.
Because that's a dry heat.
Yes.
It's not comfortable. It's
it
dry
is
heat. So, well, fantastic. So now your first book that you sat down to write, what was your inspiration for your character?
I had this idea of Kate actually come to me while I was writing the other book that's not been published. I was working on this book, and this character just kind of popped into my head. And I had all these ideas about who she was and what she did. And it was an odd experience because it didn't fit anything of what I was working on.
Right.
I was working on a contemporary romance, and this is a mystery, and I don't know how to write a mystery.
Right.
And so a friend of mine who also writes, just write all the things that you know about it in a journal. Just get it out of your head so, you have it somewhere. And then you can come back to it if you want to. At least it's out of your mind, and you can work on what you're working on.
Yeah, the old brainstorm dump that you do, yeah.
That brainstorm dump turned into the first 3 chapters.
That's fantastic.
And I sent it to, to my friends. I'm like, can you just read this? I feel like there's something here. And I was excited about it.
Right.
Yeah.
And what they, read it and came back to me like, you have to stop what you're working on and finish this because I want to know what's happening.
Right. Yeah, we want to know that. And I can totally see that because, as I said, when I started reading it, I'm so accustomed to a lot of times books take at least a chapter or 2 before they kind of get going. Mm-hmm. It's sort of like some TV series. Yeah. You watch the first 1 or 2 and you're thinking, that's not very good. And then I'll have friends say, oh, get to number 3, episode 3, and then you'll love it. And It's true. So this book is not like that. I'm telling you, folks, you'll be in this book.
It's like right out of the gate.
Right out of the gate. You're excited. It's interesting. You want to know what's going on. How does this end? What does she, and I don't want to be a spoiler yet about this book, but it's really interesting.
Well, what are some books and authors that you got kind of hooked on it in college and stuff and for your personal reading?
I've read so many. Oh gosh, Stephanie Plum was a big one. When she started, the Stephanie Plum series. I can't even remember the first book.
Yeah.
And then the author was writing romance prior to that. So I was reading some of her romance novels. Janet Ivanovich, that's her name. Mm-hmm. I was reading some of her romance novels. I was reading whatever I could find at the local library that were romance novels because I figured I found a genre that I liked, that I wanted to take a part of, and I wish I could remember anybody else's name from that point in time. But I loved the fact that there were love stories, and there was a happily ever after at the end. And a bunch of stuff happened. Whatever genre of romance it was. There was a farm that was in danger. There was a house that they were going to lose. There was a vineyard that was
some sort of subplot
going on, right? Yeah. But I loved at the end, they would be able to wrap up the whole story, and it was a happy ending for the characters, and I just fell in love with that.
It's funny. I was an avid reader from a very young person, so much so that even when I was in third grade, they wanted to move me ahead of grade because my reading was advanced. I remember being a kid, and I was one of 6, 3 girls, 3 boys. I was the baby. I was special. And so my mom would always say, okay, it's time to go to bed. So I'd go to bed, and I literally was that kid with a flashlight under the blanket reading the book, And I remember my mom got me started on this series called the Trixie Belden series. Okay. And I love those books, and they're all mystery books. And then, of course, Nancy Drew and the Hardy Boy. It was just, those were my books. Those are the things, I loved it. So that's why your book was so fun for me to read, because it kind of took me back to that. And now, after being a history teacher, I find myself drawn a lot more to your nonfiction books. So this was a nice break from some of the darker.
I can picture Shannon's husband saying, "What are you doing under the covers with a flashlight?"
You know what's funny is he's probably an equal avid reader as I am. And, to brag a little bit here, our son, I remember when he was in, I think it was 4th grade? Yeah, 4th grade at Hanalani private school out in Hawaii. Mm-hmm. And the librarian came to me, I don't know, it was probably a couple weeks back after Christmas break. And she said, Miss Grady, I just want to let you know that Sean has already read more books than every other student in the school K through 12.
Wow.
And one of his teachers actually said to me, Sean doesn't play games or anything with the kids at recess. He just reads a book. You should look into that. And I was like, should I get him more books? Is that what you're recommending?
He's happy, and you want me to make that not?
Put that book down. Go play. So he loves to read. So it's big in our family. So I tell you, that's really where Tripp and I were talking one day about doing a podcast, and that's how this all came to be, was reading. And then, as he said, he picked this up. So, one of the other questions I have is, so again, you're not a veteran. Is your husband a veteran?
My husband is, yeah.
Okay. All right. So I was going to say, because I'm guessing you had to find somebody to kind of give you a little bit of insight into, is he a GWOT veteran, which is Global War on Terror?
I don't know. I don't know that.
Has he served in the last 20 years?
No, he's been out for a while.
Okay, yeah, because my husband's is a Global War on Terror veteran. I am not. I was in the 90s, so that kind of ages.
I think he was Gulf War era. I think that's...
Yep. Okay, so he and I probably were in during the same period, just before, well before 9/11. I was out in 94, so. Wow. Good bit before 9/11 took off. But anyway, I said, well, there's no way she would be able to write this without having somebody as a source to kind of explain what happens in the military.
Yeah, and I do have sources at the FBI that I've been working with to get some of that, those pieces in and done. I had a source at the crime lab and at the Phoenix PD, so I would ask all kinds of questions of them. And
that probably adds to the little details and nuances.
It does. And there are some things I put in there that, I would talk to the FBI agent. I'm like, okay, so this is what I need her to do. I want her to do. And he's like, oh, no, you can't do that. Mm-hmm. Well, okay, so I can't do that. But can she do it if he doesn't know about it? It's like one of those things. Exactly. Like, he doesn't know this is going to happen. So he's like, well, he wouldn't be able to be involved because as soon as he knew about that, that's something that he would have to. I'm like, perfect, done. Okay, we can finish off that chapter. Little things like that make it kind of feel, more true to life.
Yeah, because the last thing you want to have is an FBI agent who's involved with someone who's committing crimes.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, if somebody wants to buy this, you're available on Amazon?
Available on Amazon. It's in Barnes & Noble. It's in some of the actual stores, but I know it's on their website as well. And it's available to libraries as well, but I never know which libraries have it.
Now, do you have a website of your own?
I do. It's
fans?
LisaHartman.com, so HeArtman.com.
Great. I know that folks are going to be very interested to pick this up and give it a read. Are you doing any other book shows as you did at the gun show?
We do. I do so many events kind of around. This week, actually, we have the author showcase at the Horry Georgetown Technical College. Okay. And then I have...
do you know when that's coming up?
That is on the 25th.
Yeah, check your dates. We want to make sure we get this information out and get people there to watch.
And you probably have a schedule that's up on your website also?
It is on my website as well. So Wednesday the 25th is the author showcase at Horry Georgetown Technical College in their cafe. I don't know if it's a Starbucks or whatever it is there
Okay.
at the college. And then this Saturday, the 28th, I have a booth at the Women's Day Market.
Nice. Fantastic. Well, I know I won't be able to make the one on Saturday. I'll be out of town, but I will definitely try to get over on Wednesday and check it out because I'm assuming you won't be the only author
there's
there. Yeah.
8 fantastic authors that are going to be there, and it's going to be just a great fun time.
You mean somebody has a book podcast would actually want to go where there are a bunch of authors? Shocking.
That doesn't make any sense. Well, they might want to meet other people that write. Would it surprise you to know that I, too, have an interest in writing and have done a little bit?
Oh, that's fantastic.
But I'm more of the nonfiction writer.
Yeah.
So I'm doing something to deal with communism in China. So not as gripping as this.
No, not a happy ending there.
Right. Well, it could be. So one of the other questions I had is, so typically when someone's writing a book, I remember when I was in high school, my English teacher told me, you know what, Shannon, write what you know. So what that tells me is that most of the time when you come up with characters, even though it may not be directly, identical to somebody you know in the real world, there is someone that triggered the thought process that got you started on that character. Yeah. So the neighbor downstairs,
Kyle, my husband's favorite. Kyle is my husband's favorite character.
He's just so unassuming. He reminds me of Seinfeld. Kramer is who he reminds me of. Just pops in. Hey, what's going on? I got some pizza. Wait, that's my pizza. I ordered the pizza. Yeah, Kate, I know, but I had a slice. I had the breadsticks, and he leaves with the breadsticks. You're like, who is this dude? So that's your husband's favorite character.
He is my Kyle is my husband's favorite.
He's hilarious. I mean, we're talking about the book Trip. I know you didn't get a chance because you gave me the book and I read it, but I'm telling you, the
I'm
character's
illiterate
funny.
anyway. Yeah.
As I was reading, I'm laughing because literally that's who was coming to mind with me was Kramer as he slides through the door, and I'm picturing Kyle sliding through the door. Hey, your pizza and breadsticks were delivered, and he's eating the breadstick.
Yeah, he that is one of the characters. I didn't even have an idea for Kyle when I first started writing.
Yeah,
and he was just going to be a neighbor. It just was not going to be something that was a character that took up space in the book.
Yeah.
Well, tell me a little bit about the villain. Now I'm really...
The villain is hard because that's going to give away a little bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Too much of the end there.
Can't really do that. That's sort of the mystery is who is behind all this.
Who is behind it is a good portion.
Well, I would say it's almost a political thriller. In that it has all the aspects of it. Again, I'm a politico, so I love following things, all things politics. So this book also had that as well. So again, she starts off, she's the bodyguard for a state senator, and they're at an event, and she's dressed to the nines, and she's trying to not look like a bodyguard and look like she's like a date essentially. Yeah. So it starts off pretty interesting, and then there are other political characters that are later brought into the book, and they all have a central theme or reason for being involved. And I can't. That's as much as I'm going to say because again, not going to give away the ending of that. But
doggone it, I thought I had a pair of spoilers in here.
I'll let you borrow the book, and you can read it since you bought it. But yeah, it's really good though. I like the ending. I like the way you tied it up. It wasn't one of those. I've read plenty of books that they do really good. They start off great, and then they sort of peter out. And then you get to the end of the book, and you're like underwhelmed by how it ended. That's not the case with your book. I thought you did a really good job of starting off strong and sticking through that. And that's a sign of a very mature, well written author. And so for this to be your first book, well done.
Thank you.
Looking forward to seeing the next one that you get finished up. Daisy Dukes and Daggers. Now that we're aging ourselves a little bit when we say that, because does anybody know where the term Daisy Dukes coming from? Trip, come on, Trip, tell us.
Dukes of Hazzard.
Now,
which has one of somebody from my area of the country actually was one of the Duke brothers in the Dukes of Hazzard.
Luke or Bo?
Well, here's I'm gonna give what he was from Wisconsin. Can you imagine that?
Wisconsin,
Midwest boy. I didn't know that.
A lot of people didn't realize.
Is that Luke?
Yeah.
Luke? Yeah. Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's cool. But yes, I'm looking forward to that as well. And so that's going to be about Kate and is she still in the same line of work in terms of being a bodyguard?
She is in the same line of work, and it takes the next book takes place about 3-4 weeks after this book ends, and Kate finds herself in another unfortunate situation. And working with Paxton, and her best friend Maggie will be there, and Kyle will be there as well. And
Paxton is the love.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just as long as Kyle's there, I think.
Well, I should have mentioned Paxton first because he's like one of the central characters in the book. He's the FBI agent who was her former captain in the Army. Also, basically saved her life in Afghanistan. So she had some things happen there that really play an interesting role in the book that you've written and the characters in your book. Yeah.
What sounds really cool is that this has something for both men and women that can get into it. I mean, as a guy, I'm like, wow, this is going to be like this sort of sexy,
romance.
Female strong character that's in there, and man, I want to really dive into it.
Yeah, I worked on making sure it had a little something for everyone. It's got mystery and suspense and drama and comedy and romance, and there's action and adventure, and stuff blows up, and people come out of the woodwork in some points. But I really just wanted to make sure it was something that everybody could pick up and enjoy. And I am always surprised when guys pick it up and they're like, "Well, I'm not a romance reader," and like, well, it's not. There is a romance,
right? But it's not
the main point
Yeah.
of the story. It's not the central aspect of the story. And I get so many either emails or comments, on Amazon and Goodreads. I wasn't really expecting to like this or whatever the situation. And I loved it. Or my wife picked this up and she told me to read it, and I was surprised I liked it. And I love reading those comments because it's a really fun experience.
I think in the back you actually put something in there about being a romance writer. So that's true. I read that first, and then I thought, you said Lisa's a coffee-swilling, sass-spewing romance writer. So when I read that, I thought, oh, this is going to be a romance book. I don't really like romance, but my aunts do. They love it. And then as I started reading, I was like, well, I would call this more of a thriller, not even a mystery as much as a thriller with a little interesting romance sprinkled throughout. But that isn't, as you know, that isn't the key component. So you're right. I think anybody who likes romance, anybody who likes mysteries, anyone who likes thrillers, if you like a little bit of comedy, there's where Kyle comes in. I think you're going to love this book, and I certainly hope that you'll pick it up for yourself, maybe pick it up for a friend or a family member, boyfriend, girlfriend, wife, mother, whatever. And be sure to leave a review, because as writers, the most important thing to get your name out there is for people to be talking about what you're doing. And the same goes for my podcast. I love my friends. I appreciate that they listen and they'll text me back and give me great reviews on what they thought of the pod. It was great. I loved it. I read the book, or I'm going to read the book. But what I need is for people to go to the podcast itself and make those comments. So I know that's probably how you feel about your book as well. People purchase it. You want them to go on to Amazon or wherever they purchased it from, and please leave that positive review, like it, share it, let everybody know about it.
Tell everybody about it.
Tell everybody. Spread the word.
That's
let
right.
the word be heard.
The good word.
The good
That's
news.
Right.
So fantastic. So Lisa, is there anything you want to tell folks? I know you said you don't know exactly when your next book is going to come out. So we're going to try to, you said this summer or fall?
I would love it to be the summer.
I would love it to be this summer as well.
The bug is bitter, and she's ready for that next book.
See what Kate's going to do next.
Figure out how to finish up the second half of the book, and then depending on what the editor's schedule is, to do the grammar and spelling and whatnot, and get that out into the world.
Maybe Paxton's going to convince her to join the FBI. Be one of the badge-carrying bureau members.
No, is she?
No, I'm just
kidding. She really?
No, she plays too fast and loose with the rules. I don't think that's going to
live in that gray area.
I like it too.
Other things on my website, I have a series of short story scenes that are a free download. That is Combat Boots and Camouflage. So that's 10 years before the first book, High Heels and Handguns. And that's 3 short story scenes from when she was in the Army. So when I add to that, I'll add another, chapter to that or a story scene to that, and let readers know that it's there and available to read. But that's a kind of interesting little piece of it, that those are all scenes that I had to work out for me.
Right.
How they first meet and how they get off on a bad foot and how she gets her training and, how she gets involved with Special Forces to begin with. And I just feel like those are fun things that I've done for me to understand the characters. So I give those away to readers. So that's just a little...
This is no Private Benjamin, for those of you who know what that alludes to. But way back in the day, you had a TV... It was a movie, actually, Private Benjamin.
Goldie Hawn.
Goldie Hawn, great actress, and she did the frou-frou, too focused on her makeup to march kind of deal. Yeah. So that is not Kate. Special Forces. I think is she a Green Beret? Is that was she a Green Beret?
Special
Just
Forces
Special
in the
Forces.
Army.
Yeah. Okay. So folks, again, check it out. High Heels and Handguns. You can find it in multiple locations. We will certainly include the link on the podcast. You can click on it. It'll take you right to where you can purchase this book. Don't wait. Grab it now, read it, and then leave your review. And let's encourage Lisa to get out that next book so that we can find out the love relationship between Paxton and Kate. And, of course, more importantly, what is she doing next? What exciting thing? Because things blow up in this book.
Done blowed up.
It done blowed up. Yeah. There's all kinds of violence and death and mayhem. And it's good. I mean, I don't mean that in a negative way. It makes it exciting. I mean, I know my husband, whenever he's looking at a movie, he's like, oh, they blow up cars. Yeah, there's a lot of gun battles, fighting. I'm thinking, okay, I'll suffer through it, but it's probably not going to be what I really want to watch. But what's the guy?
But if they have a romance entwined in there too, it kind of gives it that little flair.
The one that Keanu Reeves does, he's done like four in a row.
The John Wick one?
John Wick. Thank you. Okay,
yeah, my husband's like one of his favorite series.
Yep, same here.
It is nothing but fighting from the beginning scene to the end scene.
I mean, when they start off a movie killing the man's dog,
I know.
Yeah,
that
I can't.
Yeah, the widower's dog. That just really, that.
Yeah. So
gets
again,
me emotionally involved. Right?
So if you like John Wick, you will like this book. It kind of it doesn't start off by killing somebody's dog, but it does start off with a pretty intense scene, and you're immediately like, who did it? Why did they do it? So is this person going to survive? Do they make it? So I'm trying to be as
vague
as I can by simultaneously telling you got to read this book. It's going to give you,
Well, that's the point of the podcast. They've got to read this book. Yeah,
I think I read it literally in a day.
I had a feeling when I was just looking at the book and the description that would be one of those kind of addictive reads that people would get into and then just suck it in. Yeah.
So this is our first fiction book. The last two podcasts we've done have delved into nonfiction, which much more serious topics. I have, since reading yours, I've also read another book that's new. I think it came out January 10th. It is A Small Town Stand Against a Broken Nation, Revolt by Ray Boris. We will probably be discussing that on our next podcast, and then we'll return to the nonfiction genre with Buck Sexton's new book, Manufacturing Delusion. So we've got some really exciting books to talk about in the next couple of podcasts. So please, if you like what you're hearing, you're enjoying learning about books, which ones to read, then subscribe. It's free. We don't charge you to subscribe to hear us pontificate on various books. Like us, comment on the podcast, and folks, we look forward to seeing you next time. Lisa Hartman, thank you so much for coming in. Again, the book is High Heels and Handguns by Lisa Hartman.
Thank you.
Have a great one.